This is the very nearly fairly current show!
Hi Derek, welcome to the Fairly Current Show.
Thank you.
Now, today we want to talk about something absolutely serious, right?
Okay.
Actually, fairly serious. Because it's kind of essentially what's going to happen to Kuala Lumpur in the next 12 years.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's about the KL City Plan 2020.
Sure.
Can you just tell us a little bit, basically, what are the two biggest issues that's facing this draft plan?
Okay. The KL City Plan 2020, if you have a look at this is what it looks like. It's actually a draft plan, which is Dewan Bandaraya Kuala Lumpur's proposal to the people of Kuala Lumpur as to how the next 12 years of development will look like in Kuala Lumpur. So it is obviously going to impact very, very seriously on the lives of every resident. I don't think anything impacts as great as this particular plan. Now, I've studied this plan, and together with many other experts, have looked at this plan, and I'm frightened for the Kuala Lumpur people. I'm really very worried about them. This plan is fundamentally flawed in its direction of development in Kuala Lumpur.
Why?
Okay, I'll give you an analogy. What this plan is doing is saying that 600,000 people are going to come to Kuala Lumpur by 2020, and therefore we need to cater for them. And because there's no more land, we have to cater for them by increasing densities. And the justification for this is a somewhat ridiculous concept of more people, greater vibrancy, without having any regard to the ability of the infrastructure to absorb this kind of quantity of people. Now, that's the first major problem. I'll give you an analogy for your viewers.
Right.
Kuala Lumpur is like a Proton Saga with 5 seats.
Right.
Currently, there are 6 people in the Proton Saga already.
Sure.
So, in order to make life comfortable, they say put on the stereo, let's put the aircon a little bit, play with your MP3 player, ignore the fact that it's a bit tight, and life goes on. It's very vibrant. We can have 6 people in a car talking, and it's good fun. And they are now saying, yeah, but we are still looking forward to put in another 2 to 3 people into the same Proton Saga. Because they like to go into this Proton Saga, so let us put them into the car. Never mind if they have to sit on somebody else's lap, or there's not enough place, or if there's an accident, somebody will not have a seatbelt.
Right.
Now the federal government does not agree with them. Now this is the biggest joke of the city plan. The federal government, in a book called the National Physical Plan, has come up with a development strategy for Malaysia and in particular Kuala Lumpur.
Right.
Now this book is passed with the Prime Minister's assent. He's the head of the National Physical Plan. It's an excellent book. What it says is, look, this is all rubbish, your proposal to increase density. There's no need to put in another 2 to 3 people in the Proton Saga.
Right.
There is another Proton Saga there, and it's completely empty. So let these 3 people get in there. And in fact, you take off one person from this current car and ask them to sit in that one, and everything is fine. Right. Now, this new Proton Saga is what they call the Kuala Lumpur conurbation. Basically, it says, let's not look at Kuala Lumpur as a city like that, but let's extend it to a mega city, including Bangi, including Putrajaya, including Seremban. So let's spread out the area to a larger area, so there's more infrastructure, and there is a greater quality of life, and this will be more effective for the country. And by doing this, we can have densities of about 25 persons a hectare, as opposed to the ridiculous figures that are being proposed by DBKL, 100 persons per hectare of density.
Then what's stopping this from happening?
Well, first of all, there are many stories that have been told by DBKL and various consultants.
Right.
First story was, I'm not legally bound by this plan. That means this is not binding on me. KL has its own planning laws, and we can do what we like or what we feel in their interest.
Okay.
And I proved this wrong a week and a half ago by showing them a gazette, which I don't think even they saw, that says that this plan is legally binding on you, you have to follow. In fact, DBKL has got no say in this matter. They should implement what the federal government has done in this plan. Now, obviously, there's another side to this. There are personal interests involved here. Those people who are having their areas zone high density, especially in Hartamas, Bangsa and all that, those landowners make a killing in money. By increasing plot ratio and density, land goes up, and they make a lot of money. But they do not seem to care about the repercussions in terms of traffic, garbage,
ecology.
Economic repercussions. Ecology is major, of course. That's very obvious. But the economic repercussions. Who's going to give jobs to the 600,000 people? Where are they going to find a living? What about the crime that is going to be committed in terms of all that people? The police force can't even cope with existing numbers. They're in a desperate situation of one police officer to 1,700 people, and you're going to put in another secret. This is a mad plan. It's a mad plan.
It kind of reminds me of this plan that I read a long time ago. Actually, that there was this one projection by the ministry. I can't remember which one, but wanted to increase the population of Malaysia, the whole of Malaysia, to about 100 million. Like by 2050 or 2100 or something like that. That's like okay.
Anyway, these people obviously do not think, because the more people you have, the worse it is, because the resources are finite.
Right.
Land is finite. If you look like places like Bangkok, Jakarta, Philippines, Metro Manila, it's a mess. It's a damn mess. The infrastructure cannot cope. Kuala Lumpur presently today is turning into an urban slum because there's not enough infrastructure to support people. Now, the best indication of infrastructure, let me let you, is open space.
Okay.
So let's measure.
Of course. Yeah.
You can increase density to however high you want, provided you have the basic infrastructure to support the density.
Sure.
We're talking about everybody needs clean water, clean air, open space. They need a job. So these are indicators. So let's center on one indicator before we go into others. The minimum standard for any country in the world for sustainable development is 20 square meters of public open space per person.
Right.
In other words, you are entitled to 20 square meters of public open space. That's how we measure. Now, London has 40 square meters per person. So you're talking about London. Tokyo, it's 20 square meters per person. That's what Malaysia has. Now, let me tell you.
What is
KL presently, they can't even achieve 11 square meters. They don't even have that. They are proposing in their KL plan, we're going to give you 11 square meters in 2020, but we can't give it from public land. We have to take 3 of these square meters from private land, private golf courses, which they're going to claim is public open space, but members of the public have no access.
Okay.
So this so-called
That's what they're calling
privately owned public open space, which is a term which is rubbish. And the person who actually comes up with these terms, in my opinion, not fit to actually come up with such terms. I mean, it's very misleading.
Sure.
Now,
but what can people do about? How can people get engaged in this?
Actually, this one should be flushed down the toilet. I mean, to be very frank with you, I mean, this is rubbish.
But then
rubbish.
we clog the toilets.
Yeah. Let me tell
Run
you.
over with our
While
propaganda
saying this, there's not enough open space in Kuala Lumpur. While saying this, that I have to give you only 11 and a minus of 3, they chop up half of the publicly owned land in Bukit Gasing. Can you imagine that land which is zoned is a green lung, it's a green area, it's owned by DBKL, it's not even privately owned. There are some pockets which are privately owned. Instead of taking back that land for green, they are actually proposing development, cutting the green lung in half. So this kind of hypocrisy is a joke actually in terms of planning, and I certainly do not support this plan.
Right.
They come up with all kinds of stories.
What can individual, like, how can we get involved?
You should stand strongly and object against this plan. There's several coalitions which are saying that this plan is totally flawed, and to throw it out.
Right.
And to come up with a proper plan.
So would a public memorandum?
Yes, public memorandum, contact the Save Kuala Lumpur Coalition, write to the Prime Minister, highlight this on media as you're doing now, to tell people don't take us for a ride lah.
But there's still time to
yeah, you got until the end of August.
Right.
And hopefully they will listen. But indications are there's a lot of talk, but nothing is happening. So maybe people will have to take the next step, which is a political process to ensure what they get is followed. But I mean, like I said, the Prime Minister did a great job. I mean, his plan is excellent. If you look at him, in fact, it's very clear. That's him signing as chairman of the National Physical Planning Council. Now look what he says. Look what the Prime Minister says. The proposals of the National Physical Plan will be constantly monitored and will retain an element of flexibility so that the country can respond quickly to any unexpected changes in the world economic situation. There are, however, certain proposals that should have permanency. This is particularly true of areas proposed for conservation. Now, after having said that, Bukit Gasing, for instance, Federal Hill, and these are the areas where some smart elect, and the word is smart elect, comes up with plans to propose development. I mean, who gave them the right to come up with this proposal when in fact they are supposed to follow exactly what is in this book. Now, while we're not saying you should actually throw people out of KL, because the density being proposed here is about 25 persons per hectare, KL is already reaching 60 persons per hectare, it's already more than that. You should not increase it. You should be looking at infrastructure, maintenance, public services, green parks, and make the city more vibrant. Now, a last point, which is a serious issue, is, and this is how ridiculous it gets, this book is published in 4 volumes.
Right. But
Volume 1,
only
Volume
2,
Volume 1, and Volume 4. 1, 2, and 4. Okay, there's one for okay. Volume 3 is missing.
Right.
Now, when you ask them, where's volume 3? Oh, it's not quite ready yet. I mean, if volume 3 is not quite ready yet, why do you even put this for public objection?
Right.
Where is volume 3?
Right.
And so this whole process is seriously flawed. So I hope Dato Banda will wake up really to what's happening.
Dato Banda.
You know, I mean, it's one thing to listen to your officers, but it's another thing to look at the truth of the matter.
Sure,
Take some independent advice as to what is going on and why people are unhappy with this
And
situation.
listen to people.
But I don't know whether my voice will be heard or anybody's, but I can tell KL residents, if this succeeds the way they propose it, this whole KL is going to be doomed. Not only economically, socially, as well as from an environment perspective, and the quality of the life will be at an all-time low. You'll get guys putting up 20-story, 50-story. They couldn't be bothered about whether there's water, there's drainage, whether the infrastructure can sustain. People have to put up with all this nightmare. And these are people who pay the salaries of the people in DBKL.
Thank you.
Thank
you
you.
so much.
This is the fairly, this is the fairly, the very nearly fairly current show.